scanned through the software before it gets to a human eye. And the software is programmed by the recruiter with keywords. So things that they really want in that person that they're looking to interview. So firstly, your CV has to have all those keywords in, but also the software cannot recognise certain fonts. It will reject it if it's got tables in it, if it's got colour, if it's got a photo of you. It has to be in certain fonts, so Arial, Calibri, I don't know how you say that, Calibri.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Font 10 or 11. It's really, and what's really hard is that different companies use different software, and the older ones have different requirements to the new ones. So you just have to play it really safe and make it really, really plain. But it does mean it's nice to read as well. Then it's easy once it does get to, if it does get through that first stage to the human eye, it's quite nice for a human to read it.
So before anybody in human resources even gets hold of your CV, it has to get through this software clearing stage first.
Yeah, for a majority of companies, I would say they use ATS. It has to get through that first. Yeah.
Right, so that you should definitely be writing that in the LinkedIn post, because I didn't know that, and I'm not sure that. I'm thinking of my friend's son who is at Cambridge and will be applying for jobs next year, and I'm not sure that they know that. So that's definitely a LinkedIn post there, Laura.
Yeah, I should do, because it's so complicated. Whether you put your job title first or the date first, size of your margins, if you should have borders, which you shouldn't. I know people put a lot of effort into making their CV stand out and look really lovely, but it won't get through the software.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. Oh my goodness, the things we didn't know that we didn't know.
I know. I guess unless if you're in a creative industry, it's probably a little bit different, but there's still certain things you'd have to comply with, I think.
Yeah. I think if you're in a creative industry, though, you have to be to stand out, you have to be super creative, don't you? You'd have to create a YouTube video and send it, or hand deliver your fancy CV in a box that explodes with coloured paper or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some great things about on YouTube, aren't there, of how creative ways people have tried to get a job.
Yes, definitely thinking outside the box. Well, geographers didn't need to worry about that too much.
You're saying we're not creative?
I'm actually wondering, of all the people who did my geography degree and your geography degree, how many people actually ended up in geography?
It'd be interesting to find out, wouldn't it?
I know, because my best friend and her husband and my other friend, the four of us all did geography together at Dundee University, and we're still best friends. And none of us work in geography, although one works in a water company, so that could be related, possibly. Yeah, possibly. I think one of my friends from the degree course is a teacher. I think a geography teacher in a secondary school. But other than that, I don't think anyone continued down the geography route. Oh, what a shame!
I know.
I couldn't tell you capital cities of everywhere either. That's the other thing. People think, geography, you must know all the capital cities of everywhere. I'm like, no, that's not really what we studied, actually.
But if you put your maps up, you would.
Yes, exactly. And my children. So we have a map of the world in our dining room, and we would quite often say to the kids, do you know where that is? Go look on the map and find it on the world map. So what's the big plans for the business in 2020, Laura? So
I just really want to continue. So I'm really focusing on getting my presence up on LinkedIn. That's my big plan for 2020, I think, because that's where the majority of job seekers are. But also it's persuading people who I meet to do their CV to get onto LinkedIn, because a lot of people, I think, are really scared of it and see it as a really formal thing and don't know how to best get the use out of it in terms of looking for a job or just getting their information up there.
Yeah.
So that's my focus for 2020, is me getting more on LinkedIn and also trying to encourage more people to get on there as well.
Yes, absolutely. Now, the way I train people on using LinkedIn, I say it's not your online CV. Whereas, what would your take on that be?
No, I agree. I mean, they do. Your LinkedIn profile and your CV do share some common things. They're both focusing on what you've achieved. They give, they both got a summary section. They both use keywords and got your qualifications, everything there. But your CV is more focused, but your LinkedIn profile is more generic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You can get more information on your LinkedIn profile. You can put like publications, can't you, on there, links and articles, and really show your value on there. And it's not just a matter of copy and pasting your CV onto your LinkedIn profile, because they're both different mediums, use different things. So your CV is a private communication between you and your prospective employer, but LinkedIn is such a massive audience. You've got to use it in a different way, I think. It's more about connections and gathering information and things, isn't it, rather than your CV, which is just a document.
Yes, no, absolutely. I completely agree. And interestingly, what you're saying there about adding in other mediums. So one of the things that takes a lot of people by surprise when I'm working with them is finding out that you can upload a video or like a podcast episode into your About section on your LinkedIn profile, which is excellent, So you can, say for example, you're a speaker. So I've spoken at a couple of conferences in England, Dublin, one in America, and run 2 conferences here in Northern Ireland. And I can put my speaker reel on my profile so that people don't just take my word for it that I'm a speaker. They can actually see the video proof of that as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did my first LinkedIn video last week, and I was terrified.
I saw it.
Oh, did you? Oh my gosh, I was so terrified. And then I think I should probably do it more and get used to it and not look up at the ceiling quite so much.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's a good thing for everyone to do, because going back to the CVs as well, once you get your CV to interviews, so many people using video interviews now as well, instead of sort of face-to-face. Mm-hmm. So for anyone, it's a good thing to practice.
Absolutely.
But you're brilliant at them. I've watched lots of yours, and you're a natural.
Oh, thank you.
You get some tips from you.
I have done a lot. I'll tell you my most recent tip, actually, is when I'm doing a video. So I use a software called Screencast-O-Matic, and it's recording the webcam. And I've discovered if I actually shrink down the window, so rather than me looking at the computer and the whole window is filled with my video, if I shrink it down to the minimum size, so it's just kind of the size of, say, like 2 inches by 1 inch. When you do that and you're just looking at that and you put it up to the top of your screen, you're looking directly at the camera. And
that's a good tip.
Yeah, it looks so much better. And the second tip is to get the transcription of what you're saying and put it along the bottom. Now, the one that I did last week, I wasn't happy with because the font size was far too small. So I want to do that again and make the font bigger and easier to read. But I use Headliner for that, and that's free. So,
good tip.
Tip number 2. So tip number 1, make the video camera that's recording you small on your screen so your eyes aren't going all over the place. And number 2 is to make sure that you have text or subtitles on your video as well, because most people are accessing social media in front of somebody else and the sound is turned off. So they'll read what you're saying rather than turning the sound on or sticking earphones in.
Okay. And that's really interesting about the transcript service. I mean, this is where you won't have what I've done. You wouldn't have done, I did a master's in HR, and I'd be really shocked if you had done that as well, Louise. Not in HR, anyway.
If I'd done what? Sorry, Laura? It blipped
a master's in HR. That must be where our similarities end.
Yeah, I did a master's in HR.
But for part of that, I had to interview about 40 people, 40 managers, and then I had to transcribe myself all the interviews by hand because I didn't have a computer back then.
Oh, wow.
And that's painful. So knowing that there's software now that does it.
That is painful. So I did a master's in computing and information systems, and the summer before I started it, guess where I worked for 3 months? In an HR department.
No!
So there you go. Oh my goodness. Laura and Louise, the online twins.
To continue, isn't it? All the similarities.
I know. Where are we going next? Oh dear. Well, Laura, I knew this would be fun. This has been brilliant to speak to you and find out more about your business. For people who want to hear more about your offers and services, where do they go, Laura?
So the website is cavishamcvwriting.co.uk, or on LinkedIn, I'm Laura Harmsworth.
Brilliant. Laura, it's been an absolute delight speaking to you today. Thank you.
You too. Thank you, Louise.
So just me popping at the end here, now that Laura is away. I can't believe that I forgot that we both did geography. We both worked at the health service. We both worked for telecoms companies. We set up our businesses around the same time. She worked in HR. I did 3 months in HR. That was just really weird and funny. Always good to catch up with people that you have worked with in the past. And Laura is excellent, and I've seen the kind of quality that she puts out. So if you are looking for some help with writing your CV, do get in touch with her. It's Caversham CV Writing. And there'll be links to that in the show notes below. But also, I wanted to just come and talk about a new format that I have for working with me in 2020. And that is the LinkedIn Power Hour. So it's really hard to say that with a Northern Irish accent and make it sound good. So power as in P-O-W-E-R and R as in H-O-U-R. If you've ever met anyone from Belfast before, you know that we say flower and power and R all the same way. So maybe I should rename it something else. But it's called the LinkedIn Power Hour, and it's for small groups of people who want to get really better at using LinkedIn. They don't necessarily want to pay for a full strategy session. So it'd be 3 to 4 people in your group. We would meet online for a Q&A once a month for a minimum of 3 months, kind of like the masterminds that I ran in 2018 and into the spring of 2019, something I really, really enjoyed doing. Those were weekly masterminds where we met online every Monday morning at 10 a.m. and masterminded through the issues in our businesses. It was brilliant fun. But so it's kind of like that, except it is meeting once a month online for a minimum of 3 months, and there would only be 4 people, including yourself, in the group, so that each person gets the opportunity to submit questions in advance, all about LinkedIn, using LinkedIn strategy, how to really make the most of LinkedIn, how to win your business on LinkedIn. If that's something you're interested in, do let me know. I'd love to help you with it and sign you up for one of the groups starting in January. And there'll be information about all of that on my website at socialbni.com. In the meantime, I've also created a free download for how to grow your genuine network on LinkedIn without being salesy or spammy. And you can pick that up on the homepage of my website, socialbni.com. And that's a really good quality download with lots of really good tips and advice for you. It's not your one-pager freebie. It's about 4 or 5 pages long. Really good content to help you to get really stuck in with your LinkedIn. So I look forward to speaking to you next week. And if there are any other geographers out there, do let me know. And also, I wanted to actually let you know about, I got a wonderful review on the podcast from one of our recent listeners. So I've actually got 2 ratings and reviews recently on podcast. And the first one is from Nina Muchaloff via Apple Podcasts. And she said, inspiring, 5 stars. I love Louise's podcast. She's lovely to listen to, and I'm always inspired to jump onto LinkedIn and take action after listening. Thank you, Louise, for sharing your knowledge and insights in such an open way. Well, Nina, thank you so much for taking the time to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. I really, really appreciate it. And the second one is from Ash Mickey Bow. And he says, Louise is great. I was lucky enough to go to an event that Louise was talking at. Her insight into LinkedIn has grown my profile 3 times in less than a month. I went back and listened to her podcast, and it's great. A must listen. So Ash, thank you so much for sharing your review as well on Apple Podcasts. And if you leave a review for me on Apple Podcasts, then I will be sure to read it out in a future episode. And so thanks so much for listening today, guys. I would ask you to share the episode on social media and tag me. It's Louise Brogan _ on Instagram and Social BNI on Facebook and Twitter. and also maybe share it with one other person who you think would be interested in hearing more about how to use LinkedIn to raise their profile.